Going to call a meeting back to order. And let's go to the item 12, University of Nevada College of Agriculture main station. We have a representative here, and I've handed out a handout to all the commissioners, and I think there's a few left to the back of the room.
Chairman Lent and Commissioners, thank you for having me back to speak to you again about the proposal to close the College of Agriculture, Biotechnology, and Natural Resources at the University of Nevada. Things have changed significantly since we spoke in Las Vegas. The proposal, the official proposals, which will go to the Board of Regents, are in the handout that David Thane was kind enough to bring. So you can look at those at your pleasure. In a nutshell, the college is no longer slated to close. It is now slated to remain. The proposal is to reorganize the college from 5 departments into 3. The Department of Natural Resources and Environmental Science, where the Fisheries and Wildlife programs reside, will remain unchanged. This has been the proposal all along. The Department of Biochemistry and Molecular Biology will remain unchanged. This also has been the proposal all along. And the new proposal is to organize a third new department within the college named Food, Agriculture, and Nutrition. And it would contain aspects of human nutrition, aspects of the present animal biotechnology department, and aspects of the present resource economics department with I think the intention is for a renewed emphasis on agriculture. I know you're interested in main station. We spoke about that in Las Vegas, and as I understand it, the proposal at this point is to study main station for a year. No changes will be made for a year, and I believe there's a committee being formed to study the operation out there. So there's nothing formal about main station at all now. What happens to main station in the future, I don't really know. I expect it will be in part determined by this committee that's going to operate in the coming year. So in a nutshell, that's the status of the situation. So things have changed actually from the time we spoke last. And I'd be happy to try and answer any questions you might have at this point.
These recommendations are changed, but I still think it would behoove the commission to, because these haven't been finalized, and I guess it's going to be finalized in June next month.
8th, I believe, is the date.
And to get a letter with our concerns, and it'd probably go to the president, Glick, and Provost Mark Johnson, and the chair of the Board of Regents, that we support maintaining the agriculture research because that's where we get all our wildlife biologists, and the main station farm is the last wildlife sanctuary in this whole valley, and encourage them to maintain that and take a position on that. And I'm glad to see that there has been some changes, but I think it wouldn't hurt for us to produce a letter out to them with our concerns. But anyone have any questions? Commissioner Capurro.
Yes, sir. What about the what is it? SBRS?
SPARS is being sold. I believe that sale is already in process, or I'm not sure if it's complete or not, but it's being sold.
Anybody else have any question?
Who's the buyer?
I believe it's the tribe. Is that right, David?
Yeah, Senator Reid is putting in $5 million into the pot. It's being appraised right now.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Dr. Thane, did you want to come up and talk on that?
Thank you, Commissioners. David Thane with the Department of Animal Biotechnology at the College of Ag. Dr. Pardini, who's the acting dean for the college, is forming 3 committees. One of those committees is to look at it's kind of an advisory committee to look at the long-term aspects of Main Station. Another committee is to look at the research that the college undertakes both at Main Station and at other research stations. And then finally, another committee to look at curriculum development, kind of with this new department coming into play, what are we going to offer? Because we're going to have kind of some limits. 2 people from resource economics will move to this new department. There'll be 5 people from the animal biotech department move there, and we're going to lose a number of other faculty members. So we're going to have to restructure. And so I think if any of you all are interested in participating in any of those committees, maybe work with Director Mayer. He's on the College Advisory Committee to express your interest, because Dr. Pardini is kind of reaching out for consensus on what we need to do on those 3 places, those 3 different committees. SPARS is up for sale. Senator Reid has $5 million coming through the Pyramid Lake Tribe. It's being appraised right now. The current working information is that the property and the water rights that go with the property, those monies will go to the college for development of an endowment for future faculty members that won't be tied to the state general fund monies. And so probably it wouldn't hurt to have your input on that also. Any other questions? I'd be happy to answer.
Commissioner Morey?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If going from 5 departments to 3, in your mind, what voids would be created, or what would be the most important losses to the College of Ag?
Well, I'm a veterinarian, so we're going to stay over in the animal side, but we're going to have a huge loss in resource economics from a 7 or 8 member faculty department down to 2 is going to really impact their ability to do economic analysis on whether it be agriculture issues, environmental issues, or what have you. Tom Harris will remain, and Kim Rollins will remain. The other aspect in animal biotechnology, we've already lost a nutritionist, we've already lost a geneticist. Those people, one was fired, one has moved on to another job. We're going to lose 3 animal biotechnology folks. These are the folks that do the stem cell work with the large animal model with sheep. And quite honestly, that may have the biggest impact on you all as members of society and your family, because these are the folks that are working on being able to develop stem cell treatments for things like diabetes, the ability to generate non-rejectable organs like kidneys and hearts and lungs and livers down the line. And they're going to be leaving and moving on to another institution, hopefully, and being able to take their sheep with them. They've got a unique strain of sheep that mimic our hemophilia in humans, that they're working on stem cell therapies, both in utero and in the adult. So those are some of the things we're going to lose. We're going to lose our area livestock specialist, Ben Bruce, who's the equivalent of Ron Terrell up in Elko County. And so that will leave a significant void there.
And one other thing, and this stem cell research, where is it being conducted?
It's conducted out at Main Station. The old shearing barn, for those that have been out there before, is where these biomedical sheep are housed. And this is where, Dr. Zanjani, who at some time will probably receive a Nobel Prize for his work, developed a in utero treatment for the bubble boy. Those individuals that are born without an immune system, if you can treat them in utero with their father's stem cells, they'll be born with a normal immune system. And Dr. Zanjani pioneered that work back in the 80s. His two colleagues are working on hemophilia and some really advanced stuff where they're able to go in and actually treat gene deficiencies in adult people, so that we can, hopefully develop some methodologies to cure a number of human diseases.
Any other questions? If not, thank you, Doctor.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody from the public want to comment? Don?
Yeah, for the record, John Carpenter, Assemblyman from Elko, and all of this kind of sounds good, but I think basically what they're doing is that they're just gutting the College of Agriculture, and there's not going to be anything left. And I don't know what's going to happen, but I think there's going to be a move in the legislature, whether we can get the job done or not, to move it to Elko. I think that really, in reality, the mining school and ag were in Elko, they'd get a lot more. We could get a lot of support up there for that. And the College of Ag, what they're doing at the College of Ag is taking the big brunt of the reduction that the legislature mandated, And the College of Agriculture is taking the brunt of that because, we got to face it, as cowboys, we don't have the clout we used to have, and so we're probably the easiest ones to pick off. But I'm pretty sure that Pete Gokachia is going to have legislation to hopefully get these programs to Elko where they would be more they'd be more welcome than they are down here. Maybe them are harsh words, but I think that's what's happening here, and there's no question that the range in that should be in Elko, in the mining, because that's where the action is. We have the resources up there for the students to do on the ground studies or whatever they have to do. So there will be that move, and hopefully it will bear some fruition, but we'll have to wait and see. But right now, in 5 to 10 years, you can bet your bottom dollar there won't be any College of Agriculture here. Just my comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
I've got a yellow card up there, but I wasn't going to speak on this. I'm Don Clavino. I'm Professor Emeritus at the College of Agriculture. I think you ought to go for it as far as advocating support for the college. I think I was pleased, and I've had the opportunity to come here and work in Nevada, and we had a close relationship all the way through with our wildlife management projects that I did, almost almost 100% of the time, there were wildlife projects that were supported by Nevada Department of Wildlife, and we had a very close relationship. I think that anything that we can do, not just necessarily to to let your support known to the public, and others will further the causes that have been described here. So I suggest if you are interested in giving support, that go for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public? If not, I'll bring it back to it's an action item for the commission, and I put it on the agenda because I'm very concerned about our future supply of wildlife managers, and I'm also concerned about losing the last wildlife sanctuary in this valley with the Main Station Farm, because I really think, like Assemblyman Carpenter, we're going to lose it. It's going to be sold, and I think there's some prospective bidders out there right now. So I think the commission should take a strong position with the letter, and it should go to the provost, Mark Johnson, President Milton Glick, and the chair of the Board of Regents, and drafted up by the department for my signature, opposing any reduction in wildlife managers or the training that we're going to have, and also disposing of the Main Station Farm. That's our last wildlife sanctuary in the valley. And that's why I put it on the agenda, to see what the commissioners thought about it. And I support what Assemblyman Carpenter said exactly. I worked there for 4 years when I was doing underground. I'm very familiar with it, and I can see it slipping away. And I think exactly, as a low man in the totem pole, and we need graduate students for the wildlife program for this agency, and to let it slip away, I think, is a big mistake. Commissioner Capurro.
This program looks like a death by 1,000 cuts. And I agree with John relative to the net result is 10 years from now, you won't have a college of agriculture. For everybody, a little bit of history for everybody, the two original colleges with the University of Nevada were the mining and agriculture. They were much of the facilities at the University of Nevada, Reno, were built with Flashman funds in that. The other thing that concerns me is there have obviously been some people who have been interested in Main Station Farm for development, for other purposes. And it's been a question for, 3 sessions, John, relative to transferring that property to the, convention authority or whatever. There was a 3-legged stool that they were using to try to put that property into a position to be sold. That farm's been, I'm 67 years old this month. That farm's been there practically as long as I've been alive. It houses some of the most important research activities that we have. It just looks to me like it was the intent of the legislature to hit at one area that it would really hurt the state of Nevada, so that the legislature could address the financing issue next session after they've basically gotten rid of the College of Agriculture. That's what it looks like.
I'm a little older than Darrell. I remember I hunted on it when there was the Kimlick Ranch and the Jones Ranch. I think that goes before Darrell. But it's a unique piece of property that we got to try to save the habitat as long as we can. And there have been some options taken up on it as far as the property goes, I was told. So, any commissioners got any? Commissioner Moore?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree with what both of you guys have just said, and I think whether whether there is a proposal down the road to move a lot of this stuff to Elko or not, at this time, we need to show our support
Absolutely.
for these programs. And I think the changes that have come about from people being more active and vocal about their thoughts, we've changed since the last meeting when we heard that the College of Agriculture was going to be completely eliminated, to a restructurization of from 5 departments to 3 departments, and in reference to the main station farm, I had a daughter graduate from UNR with a degree in agriculture, used those facilities. When I was going to school at UNR, used those facilities. So my family has a history of taking advantage of that facility also. And I think the stuff that's going on over there now, such as the stem cell research, in the past, they have been very important and influential in the development of vaccines for livestock diseases. And even in some wildlife, people may think that that's, if it's for livestock, it may or may not be related. But here we just had a disease outbreak where we used antibiotics that were developed for the use of domestic livestock. And I'm not saying that antibiotic was developed at the UNR main station farm by any means, but that is an example of how something that is developed through research for domestic livestock could benefit wildlife down the road. So I'm fully in support of making our voice known as to where we stand on it, and if something happens years from now that stuff starts converting over to Elko, at the present time, we're still in favor of supporting the College of Agriculture and the main station farm.
Commissioner Rain?
I'm about ready to, from motion, if you were.
Sure. Commissioner Cavan, or you, Commissioner Macbeth? I saw your hand first.
Okay. I don't have any history with this, and so I have to ask the question. I'm listening to everything, and with regard to the main station, the farm or ranch, what is it? Is it being used for wildlife? In other words, are there programs out there that are also wildlife, or is it solely a agriculture based program that's going on out there? And if that's the case, should we be maybe requesting that the property be used for in other words, that there be wildlife programs there, so we can show additional utilization of that ranch, for wildlife and the programs that are going to continue.
Who wants to answer that?
Yes,
Would you
that's an
state your
interesting
name-
point.
state your name
Oh,
for the
Kurt Pregetzer, Chair of the Department of Natural Resources and Environmental Science at UNR. It's an interesting question, and recently the wildlife faculty have begun to take students to the main station property, and there's been an inventory, and actually one of our faculty members, Kelly Stewart, is here. She could probably tell you more about that, but there has been some recognition that the property is an interesting and important place for wildlife. And maybe Kelly could speak to that a little bit. She could tell you what's been going on out there.
Thank you.
Kelly Stewart. I'm a professor in the Department of Natural Resources. I've taken some of my undergraduates out there on field trips at this point. There's a lot of deer on the alfalfa fields, geese out there. So we've gone, and it's mostly been teaching them methods for counting animals and for estimating population sizes. And then we've also done some training in radio telemetry. I don't have any graduate projects out there right now, but as of I believe it was last fall, we did have a meeting about the people that are running Main Station did want some more wildlife work out there, particularly with coyotes and sheep and some of those issues. So that's all that's going on at this point.
I guess my point would be is that the more that we can show that that property is being utilized, probably the better chance we're going to have of keeping it, especially long term. And so you just did, as many uses as possible just makes sense to me, because the more that you don't use it, the more ammunition you're given to the college to basically say, well, we could actually sell it and use those funds for other programs.
Yeah. And I've just discovered it recently. I didn't realize there was as much wildlife out there as it is. And since I've taken a couple field trips with my students out there, and it would be nice if we could keep doing that.
Yeah.
Because it's great for them to get in the field and actually see animals.
And I would imagine we got a lot of issues. We got urban, wildlife-urban conflicts. We have, we've got the disease issues that we've had here. We now have a veterinarian on, as part of the department. And so, it just seems to me that there could be a lot of additional uses for
No, I
that
completely
property.
agree with you. Yeah. Thank you.
Commissioner Kevin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As a graduate of the College of Agriculture, and Dr. Klebano was one of my primary professors back then. We're getting old, man. But anyway, that College of Agricultural Resource is really essential to the department, for our future staff, and having wildlife biologists trained in Nevada. And if we have to go to the Midwest or other states to get trained biologists, they're not going to be keyed into Nevada very well. So it's really important for this agency to have that resource. And the other thing is, this locality is named the Truckee Meadows, and the main station farm is the last vestige of the Truckee Meadows. Everybody in this room probably remembers when you drive. When we came to Reno as a kid, we'd come down Glendale Road, which is now all city, and it was a little 2-lane country road with farms on each side, and there was, all kinds of habitat for wildlife and that sort of thing. And it's all been taken up, and the main station farm is really the last vestige of the Truckee Meadows, and we should try and keep that. So I'm in full support of doing whatever we can to.
I'm ready for a motion then.
Chairman?
Commissioner Ray?
I move that a letter be drafted in the name of the Nevada Board of Wildlife Commissioners in support of the continued existence of the University College of Agriculture, along the lines of what was stated today, with the exact wording to be approved by our chairman.
Second.
Mr.
And the
Chairman.
main station farm, retention of the main
Yeah,
station.
that's-
And retention of the main station farm.
And who should the letter go to? I would suggest it goes to the provost, Mark Johnson.
Addressed to all individuals at the discretion of the chair.
Chair of the Board of Regents and President Milton Vick.
All of the board members.
Pardon me?
I think all of the board of regents.
Okay, all of the
members.
Board of Regents, including the chair, then it should go to.
Addressed to all individuals at the discretion of the
And
chair.
it should be ASAP, because they're gonna, I heard we're gonna decide next month. Anybody have any additions or anything on that? If
I'll amend my second
Oh,
to include that.
Okay, you made your second to include that. Anybody have problems with the motion? If not, I'll call for a vote. All for the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none, motion passes. Thank you. Thank you. Next item on